Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm just getting ready for work and I thought I would take this time to sit down and chat with you and talk about little baby Bennett. Yesterday he had an appointment at Sick Kids Hospital here in Toronto. We thought that it was going to be completely uneventful and that didn't quite turn out to be the way that it was. So I will list the products that I'm using down below. If I try to talk about them while I'm filming and talking about Bennett, it's just going to get confusing and I'm going to get off topic. So let's do this. So Bennett is just about 18 months old. He will turn 18 months old on October 19th. And he is overall a very healthy, happy little guy. The only issue that we've ever noticed with him really is that one of his legs is fatter than the other, or one leg is skinnier than the other. We noticed that about a year ago, possibly more. I can't exactly remember when we first brought that to our doctor's attention. And it wasn't really overly concerning. It was just a matter of, wanting to know why. There was this discrepancy in size and wanting to know if we should be concerned about it. And for the first few well baby checks, they measured the difference and they took note of it, but just basically told us it's probably just the way he's built, don't worry about it, it's not really an issue. But we kept bringing it up. And my concern more so was making sure that that discrepancy doesn't change or increase. And so I wanted them to keep track of it. And I guess eventually they thought to satisfy us that they would send Bennett for x-rays and an ultrasound of his pelvis just to see if there's any, I don't know what they were looking for. I don't know, any underlying issue, I guess. And in and around that time as well, they referred us to an orthopedic doctor at Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto. So we got that appointment notification a few months ago, and our appointment was yesterday. So we traveled on down to Toronto and took him to Sick Kids. I should back it up and say that we had an appointment with our doctor probably 2 months ago. Yeah, about 2 months ago. And they reviewed the results of the ultrasound and the x-rays with us and said they didn't see any issues, there was no problem, nothing to be concerned about. It'll probably even out over time. They'll keep an eye on it, but don't worry about it. So yesterday we went for our appointment. So at any rate, we wait and they say that they want to do a new x-ray, which is fine. They have obviously the x-ray stuff right there. So I took Bennett for the x-ray because only one of us could go in. And the last time he had x-rays done, they wanted him lying down, which was much easier. This time they wanted him standing up. And despite refusing to sit for the last 2 hours, now this kid refused to stand. So I'm trying to hold him in place and it took quite a bit. And I'm just the sweat, untold amounts. But they finally got the image and that was fine. So back to the waiting room we went while they processed the image and got it reviewed by the orthopedic doctor. I will try to stay in frame, but I make no promises. So the doctor comes in and she asks us all of the routine sort of background questions and all this kind of thing. She has obviously reviewed the x-ray and she asks us to bring Bennett out into the hall just so that she can watch him walk. So he's happy to escape the room, toddles on down the hall, toddles on back, and then she says she just wants to take another look at the x-ray and then she will be right back. So a few minutes later, she comes back. And keep in mind that we're expecting her to tell us that there is nothing wrong. We're terrified she's not going to say that, but that's what we're expecting based on what the family doctor has informed us. So she gets him up on the exam table and manipulates his legs gently, you know, brings them up to his tummy, brings them down, stretches them out, moves to the side, all of this, and he's quite happy for the attention, to be honest. And as she bends his legs up, she points out to us that not only is the one leg chubbier, but it's also longer than the other. And we had never noticed that, and I felt instantly like the worst mother in the world because I hadn't noticed that one of my baby's legs is longer than the other. But she was very kind to point out that it's only about 1 centimeter off and that it would not be unheard of. It would be actually quite unusual if anybody had noticed that. And in my own defense, the only way you could tell it was if he was on his back and his legs were bent up. You could see that the kneecap on one was slightly higher, and then holding his legs in that position. So like this is his femur, this is his knee, and then the leg out. You can see that the feet weren't quite lining up as well. So she at least made me feel better in that regard. So that was more concerning to her than the chubby aspect. And that was something that had never been picked up on by the family doctor in reviewing the x-rays that were done. She then told us that she, just based on an x-ray, can't tell whether the one leg is growing faster than the other or if the other one is just lagging behind, and that he will need genetic testing in order to determine which of those it is, because they mean different things. She did not go so far as to tell us exactly what those differences really mean. That's out of her real area of expertise, I suppose. And she basically just focused on what the disparity in the legs would mean for Bennett down the road. And so she said if it's that one is not growing as fast as the other, there's fewer causes for that, so it's going to be easier to, I guess, diagnose and manage. I'm not sure. And then if it's growing too fast, then she didn't quite come out and say that's more concerning, but that was sort of what she was alluding to, and there's a lot more possibility for the cause, I suppose. So she said that he needs to have blood work done basically immediately, as soon as possible, she said, and has to have an abdominal ultrasound, because the ultrasound he had before just focused on his pelvis and hips. I turned to Google when I got home, which was a colossal mistake, but one that I think we all readily make anytime we have some sort of illness which isn't easily defined. And I think they're focusing mainly on the kidneys and whatnot, because one of the potential causes for legs growing faster than the other can increase the risk of cancer. Right now, as I said, it's about 1 centimeter difference, possibly a little bit more. I can't quite remember. It was a lot to take in. So if it's not 1 centimeter, it's like 1.5 centimeters. And I guess they're able to predict at this point what that will likely translate into when he's older. And they're saying it could be about 4.5 centimeters difference in his leg length. And anything under 4, don't quote me on this. Like I said, it was a lot of information to take in. But anything under 4 centimeters, there's really not much that needs to be done. But over 4 centimeters can create other issues, and so you want to address it. So how you address it is, apparently there's 3 options. One of them is to do nothing and just buy a lift that he would wear in his short legs shoe for the rest of his life. Option number 2 is going in for surgery when he's around 12 and stopping the growth of the one leg so that the other one can catch up. And that will obviously result in him being about 4.5 centimeters shorter than he otherwise would be. The third option is that they let him grow to full maturity and then go in surgically to extend the length of the other leg, which involves a lot more invasive, painful procedures for him, which is not something that I want to put him through. So that's where we're at. Aside from giving us that information, she really couldn't provide any more, which is fair enough because we don't know what we're dealing with here. So basically he is going to have to go for blood work. I think she said blood work every 6 months until he is 7? 4? 7? Can't remember. There's a lot of numbers thrown around yesterday. And then ultrasounds every 3 months, depending on what they find. So if it is that the leg is growing faster, then he's going to have these ultrasounds quite frequently, and I'm guessing that's because there's an increased risk of cancer. So they want to keep an eye on that. So what was supposed to be a fairly straightforward appointment, or what we thought was going to be a fairly straightforward appointment, ended up being a lot scarier. It was overwhelming. It was overwhelming to take all that information in, and then I look at my little baby and I don't want that for him. I don't want him to have to go through blood work every 6 months and have ultrasounds every 3 months and have to trek down and see all these doctors, and I don't want him to have to go through surgery and make that choice to, you know, because he'll be 12. Barry and I we will ultimately make the decision, but we will hear him out because he will be old enough to think rationally about it. So it's a lot to take in, and I mean, for me, nobody enjoys being sick. I don't enjoy being sick, but I would much rather it be me to have to go through all that than him. And I can't spare him from that, and that is a horrible feeling. The positives are that the doctor was talking about in terms of him being 12 and in terms of him being an adolescent and an adult. So this isn't something that she was saying is going to impact his longevity or anything like that. So I'm kind of just focusing on that right now. And she told us that there's nothing to worry about at this point, that we should just continue to enjoy him. There's no cautions in terms of what he can do, what he can't do, what he can wear, what he can't wear, anything like that. Like, there's no change to his lifestyle at this point aside from more meetings with doctors and now blood work, needles. I am hoping and praying that for Bennett it's just a matter of routine checkups and that it's not anything more than that. So that's where we're at. I am going to finish the rest of my makeup off camera, and then I'm going to come back with a special guest. BRB. Who's that guy? Here, can you say hi? Can you blow kisses? Ah, good boy, high five. Can you give mommy a kiss? You give mommy kisses? Oh, thank you. What do you want to see? You want to see that one? It's a brush. Can you say brush? That's right, we brush our hair. That's right.
Mommy!
Oh, and here's the other one. Come on in here. You gotta squeeze in tight. There. There.
Daddy, come here.
How am I supposed to fit in this little tiny room?
I didn't know lipsticks. There. I don't know if you'll fit in. Yeah. There's my gang. Oh, I love you guys.
And there goes all your brushes.
Okay. It's time to go to school. Time to go to daycare. Time to go to work. Let's do this.
It's time to have a hug.
Oh, hugs for your sister. Good boy.
Do you want to say goodbye?
Bye-bye, everybody.
Okay.
Oh
Away you go. You get out. You.
Come
I'll
here,
see you in a minute. Go with Daddy.
Don't you dare. Dad,
boy.
Mommy, don't you dare delete that.
I'm not going to delete it, honey. My creative director over there. Alright, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I will see you in my next video. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.